At first glance, that neatly packaged meat at your local grocery store might look harmless. It might even be on sale. But what if behind that plastic wrap lies a hidden danger? For seniors, especially those over 60, a simple piece of meat could become a serious health risk, and not just an upset stomach. Oh, we're talking about emergency room visits, infections that interfere with medications, and long recoveries that steal your strength. As we age, our immune systems slow down. Our stomach acid becomes weaker, and our ability to fight off common foodborne bacteria like E. coli or listeria isn't what it used to be. What might give a younger person a day of discomfort can send an older adult into a week-long hospital stay, complete with IV fluids, antibiotics, and a disrupted medication schedule. You may be taking daily prescriptions for blood pressure, blood thinners, or diabetes. But did you know that infections from contaminated food can reduce the effectiveness of these medications? They can alter how your body absorbs them, increase side effects, or worsen your existing health conditions. An otherwise simple infection can become life-threatening when it interferes with your medication routine. That's why this message is important. You deserve to shop with confidence. You deserve to eat without fear. And today you'll learn how to spot 5 clear warning signs that tell you when meat is unsafe to eat before it ever touches your plate. These are not complicated tricks. They are simple, practical habits you can start using today to avoid dangerous meat and keep your health intact. This video is not about making you afraid, it's about making you aware, because knowledge is your best defense. And when it comes to food safety, especially for seniors, what you don't know really can hurt you. Let's start with the first red flag you should never ignore. A price that looks too good to be true. We all love a good deal. Walking through the grocery store and spotting a bright yellow discount sticker on meat can feel like a win. But when a pound of steak costs less than your morning coffee, it's time to pause. Because cheap meat is not always a bargain. It can be a serious health risk. Behind those low prices are often cost-cutting practices that compromise hygiene, quality, and ultimately, your safety. To keep costs down, some meat suppliers reduce the time spent on cleaning, crowd animals into stressful and unsanitary environments, and rush the processing phase. These shortcuts can lead to contamination with dangerous bacteria, including Salmonella, Campylobacter, and Listeria monocytogenes. These bacteria are not rare. They're common in poorly handled meat, and they're especially dangerous for seniors. Your immune system is not as fast or strong as it used to be, and the body's ability to clear these infections takes longer with age. What a younger person might overcome in 2 days can turn into a serious condition for you. Let's break down what happens. Salmonella infection can cause high fever, diarrhea, and vomiting that can lead to dehydration and, in severe cases, hospitalization. It is especially risky if you're taking blood pressure medication or diuretics, as dehydration can cause dangerous drops in blood pressure and kidney stress. Campylobacter is another bacteria that thrives in low-quality meat processing environments. For seniors, an infection can lead to long-term consequences like reactive arthritis or even Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare condition where the immune system attacks the nerves, leading to muscle weakness and potential paralysis. Listeria monocytogenes is one of the deadliest foodborne pathogens for older adults. It can cross the blood-brain barrier and cause meningitis or severe blood infections. Listeria thrives in refrigerated environments and is known to survive in packaged meats that look completely fine from the outside. And here's where it gets worse. These infections can interfere with your medications. For example, diarrhea caused by Campylobacter or Salmonella can reduce how well your body absorbs your pills. You may unintentionally miss critical doses without even realizing it, throwing your blood sugar, blood pressure, or heart medications out of balance. So why does cheap meat present such a high risk? Because it's often the result of rush production and minimal regulation. When the price is too low, something else paid the cost. And that something is usually safety. Remember this simple truth. Good, clean, healthy meat takes time and resources to produce. Animals need to be raised in healthy conditions. Processing needs to be carefully monitored, and transportation requires proper refrigeration. All of that costs money. If meat is being sold at a price that seems unbelievably cheap, there's a good chance the seller sacrificed something. And that something might be the one thing you can't afford to lose: your health. What should you do? Be a mindful shopper. Compare prices across different stores. Learn what the average price is for safe, responsibly sourced meat in your area. If you see a price that's dramatically lower, it's better to walk away than to take the risk. Also, don't assume store-brand meats are always cheaper or worse, but do look beyond the price tag. Ask yourself, where did this meat come from? How is it packaged? Does it feel cold to the touch? Does the packaging look professional and secure? These are the small details that tell you if a store truly cares about what they're selling. Because in the end, your health is worth more than a discount. A few dollars saved at checkout may cost you days in the hospital, weeks of recovery, and a disruption to your entire routine. You've worked hard for your health. Don't gamble it on cheap meat. You've probably seen it before, a package of meat sitting on the shelf, the plastic cover fogged up with condensation. Maybe there's some liquid pooling inside. Maybe the label is smudged or loose. It might not seem like a big deal, but this kind of packaging is more than just unappealing. It's a warning. When it comes to meat, packaging isn't just for looks. It's your first line of protection against contamination. Proper packaging keeps out bacteria, holds in freshness, and helps control temperature. But when stores use low-quality materials or don't seal their products correctly, that protection disappears. Cloudy or foggy packaging is often a sign that the meat has been sitting at inconsistent temperatures. Changes from cold to warm and back again create moisture inside the plastic. That condensation not only breaks down the meat faster, but also creates a perfect environment for bacteria to grow. And then there's the wrap itself. Thin plastic film is cheaper, but it tears more easily. Even a small tear allows air and bacteria to enter. If the package is leaking blood or juices, bacteria may have already started multiplying. This increases the risk of contamination, especially with harmful organisms like E. coli, Listeria, and Salmonella. Older adults are more vulnerable to these infections. Your digestive system is less acidic, which means bacteria have an easier time surviving in your stomach. A contaminated package that might give a younger shopper mild cramps could lead to dehydration, hospitalization, or worse in someone over 60. Here's another concern. Damaged packaging makes cross-contamination more likely. If juices leak in your shopping cart or refrigerator, they can contaminate other foods, including produce that won't be cooked. That means even the healthiest parts of your meal can become dangerous. Look also at the label. Is it professionally printed or faded and crooked? Are the dates clear and up to date? Poor labeling can indicate that the store isn't following proper procedures for rotating meat or tracking shelf life. In some cases, stores have been caught relabeling meat to extend its sale date, a practice that puts your safety at risk. So what should you look for instead? Choose meat with clear, tightly sealed packaging that has no leaks or air bubbles. Look for minimal liquid pooling inside the container. Excess moisture can signal breakdown. Make sure the label is straight, intact, and clearly printed, with legible dates and proper weight. The packaging should feel cold and firm to the touch, not soft or warm. If you see cloudy plastic, excess blood, or a torn seal, leave it. Even if it's marked down in price, it's not worth the risk. Your health is far more valuable than a temporary deal. And remember, packaging quality often reflects the store's overall food safety practices. A shop that cuts corners on materials may also cut corners on refrigeration, cleanliness, and staff training. When you see poor packaging, it may be a clue that other safety measures are being neglected too. Buying meat should feel safe. It should give you confidence, not questions. So be picky, be observant, because what protects your food protects your health. When you reach into the meat section at your grocery store, what do you feel? Is the meat ice cold or just slightly chilled? That simple sensation can tell you a lot. And for seniors, it may be the difference between a safe meal and a serious health hazard. Meat should always be stored at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, about 4 degrees Celsius. That's the safe zone where bacteria like Salmonella, Listeria, and E. coli grow much more slowly. Even a few degrees warmer, and dangerous bacteria can begin to multiply, even if the meat still looks perfectly fine. Many grocery stores, especially large chains or discount locations, don't always maintain proper cooling throughout the day. Refrigeration units may fluctuate, particularly in busy stores with high traffic or understaffed departments. Older or poorly maintained equipment can fail without being noticed for hours. The meat may still be on the shelf, but it's already unsafe. So how do you know if meat is being stored properly? Here's one simple test. Touch it. If the package doesn't feel cold to your fingertips, especially on the bottom where it should be in direct contact with the cooling surface, walk away. Meat that is only cool or slightly chilled is already outside of the recommended safe range. Another red flag is condensation. If you see water droplets forming inside the package or on the refrigerated shelves, that may mean the temperature fluctuates too much throughout the day. Warm air entering the unit allows moisture to collect, and this moisture is an invitation for bacterial growth. Also, avoid meat that is stored above the safe line. Some stores overfill their refrigerators, stacking meat above the level where the coldest air circulates. This might keep the bottom row safe, but the top packages are at higher risk of warming up. For seniors, improperly stored meat is especially risky. Bacteria multiply fast in warm conditions, and your immune system may not respond as quickly to fight them off. If you're taking medications that affect your immune function, like corticosteroids or cancer treatments, your risk is even greater. Foodborne illness at an older age can lead to longer recovery, more severe dehydration, and greater risk of complications. Even a mild case can leave you weak and fatigued for days, and it can interfere with your medications and overall health. To protect yourself, follow these tips. Always buy meat at the end of your shopping trip, just before heading to the checkout. Use insulated bags or coolers, especially if you have a long drive home. Don't hesitate to touch the packaging. It should feel cold and firm, not soft or lukewarm. If you're ever unsure, ask an employee when the last temperature check was performed. Responsible stores train their staff to monitor this regularly. Remember, meat should never feel like room temperature. If you're unsure, don't take chances. One wrong purchase can result in more than just wasted money. It can cost you your comfort, your health, or even your independence. Have you ever noticed empty shelves, long lines, or only one or two workers handling the entire store? These signs may seem like minor inconveniences, but they often reveal a deeper problem: lack of proper attention to food safety, especially in the meat department. Many grocery chains, especially budget-focused ones, operate with minimal staff to cut costs. Others struggle with high employee turnover, meaning that the person stocking your meat today might have only been trained yesterday or not at all. When it comes to meat, experience and training matter. Staff need to know how to monitor refrigerator temperatures, rotate stock by expiration dates, recognize signs of spoilage, and follow strict hygiene rules. Without enough people, or with inexperienced ones, these steps are often skipped or rushed. That creates risk. Meat that isn't rotated properly may stay on the shelf past its safe window. Cuts that should be discarded might be repackaged. Thermometers may go unchecked. If something spills or leaks, it may not be cleaned right away. All of these lapses increase the chances that bacteria are spreading, silently and invisibly. For seniors, that's a serious concern. Foodborne illness hits harder after 60. Your body processes food more slowly. Your immune system is less responsive. And if you're managing chronic conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, a contaminated meal can make everything worse. Think about this. A store with too few trained employees might leave meat sitting on carts in warm air during restocking. They may forget to pull expired products. They may not wash their hands after handling raw items, and they likely won't have time to answer your questions about sourcing, freshness, or packaging. It's not that employees don't care. It's that the system doesn't give them time to care. So how can you protect yourself? Observe the meat section. Are shelves well organized and clean, or does it look messy and rushed? Look for posted temperature logs or ask an employee when they last checked. Choose stores where staff are available, knowledgeable, and not overwhelmed. If you ask questions and get vague answers or confusion, take that as a sign to shop elsewhere. A store's staffing tells you a lot about how seriously they take safety. Well-trained, well-supported workers are more likely to handle your food properly, and for seniors, that can make all the difference between a safe dinner and a dangerous one. Don't settle for a store that doesn't take food safety seriously. Your health is worth more than a rushed restock or a careless label. Choose stores where people, not just prices, come first. In today's grocery stores, labels like organic, grass-fed, natural, or local are everywhere. They give the impression of clean, healthy, farm-fresh food. For many seniors trying to eat better and protect their health, these labels are reassuring. But what if the labels are lying? Unfortunately, some stores, even well-known chains, have been caught mislabeling meat products. When premium meat runs out, it's not uncommon for staff to quietly replace labels to keep the display full. Customers still pay the higher price, but they're not getting what they think. This isn't just about money. For seniors, mislabeled meat can quietly undermine a carefully planned health strategy. Let's take grass-fed beef as an example. True grass-fed beef contains higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation, support heart health, and improve brain function. It also contains fewer saturated fats compared to grain-fed meat. That makes it especially valuable for older adults managing heart disease, arthritis, or cognitive decline. But if you're buying meat labeled grass-fed that's actually grain-fed, you may be unintentionally consuming higher inflammatory fats. Over time, this can contribute to increased joint pain, unstable blood sugar, or cardiovascular stress, all while you believe you're making a healthier choice. Another common mislabeling practice involves local or farm-raised labels. While these suggest the meat comes from nearby family farms, the store's definition of local could mean anything within 400 miles, or even farther. Some chains use regional warehouses to supply local meat that's been frozen, thawed, and relabeled. That's a long journey for something meant to sound fresh and close to home. Even the organic label can be deceptive. While true organic meat is raised without antibiotics or synthetic hormones, some stores use vague language like raised without added hormones, which is not the same. And unless the product carries a USDA organic seal, there's no guarantee it follows strict standards. Why does this matter more for older adults? Because many seniors eat smaller portions and are more intentional with their food choices. You might be paying more for quality, nutrient-rich meat to support your health. And if that label is false, you're not just wasting money. You're missing out on the very nutrients and benefits you need most. And if you're following a special diet, anti-inflammatory, heart-healthy, or blood sugar conscious, mislabeled meat can interfere with your progress without you ever knowing why. So how can you protect yourself? Look for certification seals. USDA Organic, Certified Humane, or American Grass-Fed Association labels are more trustworthy than vague terms like natural. Ask questions. In stores with a butcher counter, ask where the meat comes from and whether it's ever been frozen or relabeled. Read the fine print. Check the back of the label for sourcing details or disclaimers. Be skeptical of store-brand labels that sound too good to be true without backing it up with transparency. And remember, real premium meat has a higher price for a reason. If two packages claim to be organic, grass-fed, but one is significantly cheaper, something may be off. You've worked hard to eat well, manage your conditions, and take care of your body. Don't let a dishonest label undo that effort. Be informed, be observant, and never trust a sticker more than your own judgment. By now, you know what to avoid. Meat that's too cheap, poorly packaged, stored at the wrong temperature, handled by untrained staff, or falsely labeled. But what should you do instead? The good news is, with a few simple habits, you can protect yourself every time you shop for meat. Let's start at the store. Choose stores with a good reputation for cleanliness and food safety. Look for well-lit, organized meat sections. Clean equipment and visible staff are good signs. Buy meat at the end of your shopping trip. This keeps it cold for as long as possible before checkout. Bring insulated bags or small coolers, especially in warm weather or if you live far from the store. Touch the package. It should feel cold and firm, never soft or lukewarm. Check packaging carefully. Avoid anything with cloudy film, leaking fluid, or loose labeling. Read the label. Look for clear expiration dates, sourcing information, and, when possible, certification seals like USDA, organic or American grass-fed. And most importantly, trust your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, whether it's the price, the condition, or the staff's behavior, choose another product or go to a different store. At home, safe storage starts the moment you get home. Store raw meat in the coldest part of your fridge, ideally at 40 degrees Fahrenheit, 4 degrees Celsius or below. Keep it on the bottom shelf to prevent drips onto other food. If you don't plan to cook within 1-2 days, freeze the meat immediately. Freeze with care. Use heavy-duty freezer bags or vacuum seal if possible. Press out as much air as you can. Label with the date and type of meat. Use within 3-6 months for best quality. When thawing meat, never leave it on the counter. Instead, thaw in the refrigerator overnight. Or place in a leak-proof plastic bag and submerge in cold water, changing the water every 30 minutes. Avoid using the microwave unless you plan to cook it immediately. Never refreeze raw meat that was thawed at room temperature. Doing so increases the risk of bacterial growth and food poisoning. Before cooking, wash your hands with soap before and after handling raw meat. Keep raw meat separate from other foods, especially ready-to-eat items. Use separate cutting boards and knives. Cook meat to safe internal temperatures. Chicken, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius. Ground beef, 160 degrees Fahrenheit, 71 degrees Celsius. Whole cuts of beef, pork, lamb, 145 degrees Fahrenheit, 63 degrees Celsius, with a 3-minute rest time. Even the best meat can become unsafe if not handled properly at home. But with a few mindful steps, you can prevent contamination and protect your health. For seniors, food safety isn't just about comfort. It's about preserving strength, independence, and peace of mind. By being careful about what you buy and how you store it, you're giving your body the care it deserves. You don't need a medical degree to protect your health. You don't need to be a food inspector to make safe choices. What you need is awareness and the courage to trust what your eyes, hands, and instincts are telling you. As a senior, your body has different needs. It also faces different risks. What once was a harmless stomachache can now lead to a hospital stay, missed medication, or weeks of fatigue. But these risks are not inevitable. They are preventable. Every time you walk into a grocery store, you are making choices that affect your strength, your energy, and your independence. When you pause to check the meat's temperature, inspect the packaging, or question a suspicious label, you are doing more than shopping. You are standing up for your well-being. Let others rush through the aisles. You move with wisdom. Let others chase bargains. You invest in safety, and let others take risks. You take control. Because aging well doesn't happen by accident. It happens through attention, intention, and action. It happens with each choice you make. One meal, one cart, one package of meat at a time. You've come this far in life. You deserve to eat safely. You deserve to live fully.